Good day and welcome back to another World of Warcraft video. In this video we're going to be taking a look at the lore walking function that has come to World of Warcraft and basically everything you need to know about it, the rewards, why you should do it, the requirements, where to find it, etc, etc. Now the requirements for lore walking is pretty simple. It'll be automatically added to your quest log on whichever character you log in unless the quest log is full. If your quest log is full, you can get the quest from your adventure guide, and it's available for characters level 10 and up, so you can use it on any character. Lore walking is a new function. It has been designed to enable players to get more specific lore in regards to specific events around World of Warcraft that have become crucial or pivotal towards the story and understanding of certain expansions. The main three campaigns are Arthas, the Ethereals, and Xal'atath, which correlate to the latest three expansions, being BFA, Shadowlands, and of course, The War Within. Lore walking can be found in Orgrimmar, Stormwind, and Dornogal. The Orgrimmar location is just across from the Flight Path vendors, Stormwind is just across from Chromie Time, and Dornogal is located pretty much just in front of the major embassy. When it comes to the lore walking, there are a couple basic things that you need to know. You would choose from any of the three campaigns, Xal'atath, the Ethereals, and the Lich King. Each campaign consists of a series of scenarios and quests. Some quests may consist of 3 or 4 scenarios strung together. At the end of each quest, your character will receive rewards based on whether they're max level, lower level, etc. We'll cover that a little bit later on in the video. But what is important to understand is that these lore walking campaigns can be fairly long. Some of them can pretty much move up to around about 3 hours, I'd say, depending on how into the lore aspect you actually want to go. Each campaign will start with Lore Walker Cho, and you will be teleported to each significant segment of the campaign. You won't have to do any flying or traveling involved. When you are doing the lore walking, there are a couple of tips to kind of make your progress. Firstly, when you are stuck, a chat icon will appear above your quest bar. This will occur when you are in the lore walking scenario, so it won't exist if you are not in the lore walking scenario. But as you can see, as I enter the scenario, I have a little yellow chat icon there next to the X. This chat icon serves two functions. It provides insight into certain lore figures. If you click it, you can speak to Lore Walker Cho, who will give you a text option to learn more about specific characters within the scenario that you're in. And you also have the option there to either click please continue the story or to potentially teleport to the next variable location. So it's important to click the chat icon whenever you're feeling like you're stuck. It can help you to reset, move forward, or just basically do a lot of progress. It's also important to understand that even though these are well-treaded stories for World of Warcraft veterans, some of the campaign scenarios and quests are custom. So these are new aspects that give you a little bit more insight into the kind of quests and characters we've seen before. A lot of the introductory scenarios are all brand new, as far as I can tell, and give players some pretty good insights. You cannot run 2 campaigns at once. When it comes to lore walking, you can only have 1 campaign active at a time, and that campaign's progress is saved. If you exit the campaign, you can pick it up at any point you have left it, but if you start a new campaign, you will be unable to return to that point and will have to start over from the beginning from the campaign you've left. So this basically means that you should really focus on finishing each campaign individually before moving on to the next one. This will save you time and effort, although if you get bored, you can probably switch across if you just feel like it. Now, we've covered the basics. Let's talk about each campaign a little bit. The Arthas campaign consists of what appears to be only 9 quests, but actually is probably one of the longer ones. Each quest is actually pretty much majority a scenario and multiple variants of a scenario, which can be pretty overwhelming. These scenarios are also quite long, so it can actually take you some time. This really is not great on a low level character, as most of these scenarios are based on weapon damage, and it can just take you a while to do all of them, which can be quite irritating. Aside from that, It's really pretty straightforward and just recounts the tale of Arthas. There don't appear to be too many bugs, but we'll cover some of the general issues you can come across later on in terms of the general campaigns. The next one we'll cover is the Xal'atath campaign. The Xal'atath campaign is one that's a little bit easier to take with normal or lower level characters. It is more straightforward quests, and it can be a little bit faster. It starts with quite a long scenario, but there's nothing else really too major that you need to kind of take note of here. The only thing that's important is that in the very first quest, Blade of Twilight, when you get to stage 7 of the scenario, you'll receive a mass dispel. You need to make sure that you use this dispel, as it's important for the boss fight there. But most of the times you won't have any key mechanics to focus on, and instead you'll be fine. In the final section, where you start with the Blade's Nemesises, you need to summon your Sage, and basically run to the entrance of the temple to do this. Once you've done that, you will be able to then summon your Sage, and you'll be good to go. But again, outside of very small kind of factors, there's nothing major to take note of here. The final campaign is the Ethereals. The Ethereals looks like the longest, but is actually not. Most of the quests here are literally just quests. They're not actual scenarios. So although it appears like it is the longest in terms of length, because a lot of them are just kill quests, and because the scaling is a bit strange all over the place, you're actually pretty much able to finish this one, I'd say, relatively quickly. There's no real major focal points, which is, of importance, but there are some certain things you want to keep in mind. If you look at potential for brain damage, you want to make sure that you use your Ethereum Essence as soon as you loot in order to progress the quest line. Secondly, when it comes down to the final section, the brokers section, make sure that in Coins of the Ferryman, you look for Mishi, who's off to the far right. They will quickly bring you back to Ouroboros to complete the quest. There's again not anything too crazy here. Most things are self-explanatory, and you shouldn't really struggle with them. Like I say, this one is probably the one that's the best for leveling, but honestly, none of these campaigns are really something that I would use as a leveling tool. It's just not really that good. Even with mob scaling and everything, it just doesn't feel like it nets you as much XP as traditional quest lines. So let's talk about some common issues that players may come across while they are doing these quests. Firstly, make sure that you do not exit a section until you finish it entirely. Let's say, for example, you're doing this scenario for the Arthas campaign. Do not leave the scenario before you have finished the entire section of the prince who will be king. If you do these things, like leaving halfway through scenarios, very often trying to get back into the scenario is incredibly difficult. It just seems like it's very glitched, and the game cannot trigger the next sequence of events in the scenario. It's also important that scaling can sometimes glitch. As I mentioned before, if you're playing a low-level character, especially in terms of the Arthas campaign, a lot of the quests require you to use scenario-based NPCs. You'll play as Arthas, you'll play as other NPCs. And when you try to play as these NPCs, their damage is based on your weapon. Because you're low level, you just don't do a lot of damage, and it can just take you a while to complete some things. It's also important that quest logs may not show up directly in your quest log. Quest items will probably be in your bag, so if you're like, I don't know where my quest item is, press B, open your bag, and just use the search bar to try and find the item. 9 times out of 10 it's there. It can just be very frustrating, because obviously we're used to now quest items kind of popping up in the quest log and actually being something that is like usable and available. Obviously, next we'll talk about the actual rewards. So why do you want to do Lorewalking? Well, I'm going to be honest with you, it's the toys. The XP for leveling is not great. The gear from chests is also very average. If you are max level, you're getting, I think, adventurer level gear. If you are under the level or not max, still leveling, you get decent gear, but it's not anything too crazy. And because it takes you so long to finish quests, you don't get a lot of EXP, you don't get a lot of gear. It's just not really worth it. The toys are the main focal point here. The toys really help you out. They're cool, and a lot of the times they're the major focus for players. The Arthas campaign will give you a toy that'll let you turn into Arthas. The Ethereals campaign will give you a toy that'll let you turn into an Ethereal. And the Xal'atath campaign will give you a little Xal'atath toy that will make voice lines when you defeat enemies, much like it did during the Legion campaign. The only other big benefit is the chests, not for gear for leveling and gearing up, but more because it gives you a chance at some cooler older transmogs that you can potentially get from the chests themselves. Overall, I'd say Lorewalking is a little bit flawed for me. I think it's a fun concept, but I think the length it takes to finish scenarios and the amount of time it takes doesn't really justify the rewards. There's no other achievements or anything at this point in time, so for now, that's it from me. Good luck, and see you next time. Bye.